my name is Melissa and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am so happy to have you. First things first, I just want to say Happy New Year. I can't believe that 2022 is here. I still have a couple I still have a couple videos that I want to kind of wrap up and talk about for the end of 2021 and beginning of 2022. So this video is obviously by the title, my 5-star book predictions of this year. These are books that either came out last year or I've had on my shelves for a while. One of my biggest goals of the year is going through books that I already own on my shelves and reading Kindle Unlimited books. So these are books that I really think that I'm gonna give 5 stars to, either because they are favorite authors, they have not let me down before, or just books that I feel like something's calling to me and I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. So hopefully I'm right in my predictions, and I have a couple books to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. One of them I've actually started reading at the beginning of the year, so I'll talk about that one first. It is Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. So if you're new here, welcome. I read mostly romance, but I do read fantasy and the occasional sci-fi. This definitely is one of my favorite young adult sci-fi series. Skyward is just one of my favorite, and I absolutely adore Brandon Sanderson's, like, any book that I pick up from him, I'm pretty sure I'm going to give this book 5 stars. So I am not too far into it. I'm on page 102, 103, or almost on chapter 13 to be quite honest. This is about a girl named Spencer who, in the very first book, she seems a little kind of annoying to a lot of people. She has this very like kick butt attitude in the fact that she's very defensive and aggressive, and all the reason why is because when she was young, her father was blamed for basically turning on her own people during this alien attack and started, you know, attacking his own people. So obviously they've shunned her, you know, branded her the daughter of a traitor, and she does everything in her power to become a fighter pilot and take back, you know, the family's honor. And that's really what that first book is about. It has like a school setting of like fighter pilot against aliens, and it was just, oh my gosh, so good. So a super cute hate to love like romance in that first one. I loved it. The second one was pretty good too, and I finally got Cytonic, which came out a little bit earlier last year, and I am so happy to be back in this world and just back with one of my favorite characters ever, Mbot. So it's just so much fun. I don't have these in any particular order. I have like them all kind of just grabbed from my shelves. This one right here is Nightfall by Penelope Douglas. What series is this? I want to say Devil's Night series. Okay, I was gonna call it the Fallaway series. No. This is the book I have had on so many TBRs, ones that I really need to get to, but I just don't want this world to end. I loved it. So this is a dark romance that follows Will and a girl named Emery, and Will basically kind of goes missing in the last book, I want to say. It's been a while, so, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am. This one I think is the biggest out of the bunch. So there has been a couple novellas in between this one and Kill Switch, which is my favorite, and I just think that I'm gonna give this one 5 stars. I don't know, I just have a really good feeling, but I'm just so hesitant to pick it up because, one, it is such a huge book, very big time commitment, and the fact that I just don't want this series to end. So there's that. Penelope Douglas is one of my absolute favorite romance authors. She's coming out with a spin-off series that was supposed to come out last year, but it's supposedly coming out this year for sure, which follows the sons and daughters in the Fallaway series, which is one of my favorite high school new adult romance or books. So this one, I can't wait. Don't know too much about it, but I'm here for it. If it's by Penelope Douglas, yes please. The next book is one that is more kind of like literature fiction, and that is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved Daisy Jones and the Six. It is one of my favorite books that I have read. The different style of that book just, it made the book come to life in a way that I never thought it would. This one follows, it's set in August of 1983, but it follows a family and a summer basically, and just all the things that could go wrong, I suppose. I think it's a surfer family. That's really all I know. I just love this color, like these, wow. I think reading this like as like a beach read by the pool or something like that would definitely be absolutely perfect. Of course, with like tons of SPF and a big hat, because like your girl hasn't seen sun in like 2 years. But that being said, I really want to get to this book. I really don't know too much about it, but yeah. Taylor Jenkins Reid always delivers, and like emotional reads that always like bring me tears. So I'm pretty excited to pick this one up and finally get to it. The next 5-star book prediction that I have is The Blade of Secrets by Tricia Levenseller. Now let me tell you, Tricia Levenseller is a author that I have read every single book that she has written. I have pretty much loved every single book she's written. Her YA fantasies just didn't do it for me. I loved The Shadows Between Us. I think that's that one. I think that one is the standalone that I loved and adored. Warrior of the Wild, another one that I truly loved. Daughter of the Pirate King and Siren Queen, that one, that duology, just so good. So I knew that picking this one up, I feel like it has a very high chance of being a 5-star book for me. Another reason why I just don't want to pick it up, because I just don't want there to not be any more of her books for me to read. But that being said, very like just old school kind of like, I don't know, this cover. It's not my favorite, but I definitely want to try it out. I know nothing about it, and I don't know if I want to go in knowing too much about it. But that being said, Tricia Levenseller, she always delivers and gives me the content that I love, and with very strong female characters. So I'm hoping to see that again in this one as well. Okay, so of course this would not be one of my videos if I'm not going to attempt to read this book, and that is Oathbringer by Brandon Sanderson. I have loved the first 2 books in the Stormlight Archives. I just know it is a huge time commitment. Like, when I wasn't working back in 2019, I was able to read the first 2 books. It took me like a good full week to read both of them, and that's when I could devote like all of my days and time to reading. It is so good. If you love high fantasy, like Brandon Sanderson, just this series is like just top tier, like god tier. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So that being said, I really need to get to this one. The 4th book, Rhythm of War, is also out. Of course, I picked it up without reading the 3rd one, but this is a multi-point of view story. There is just so much complexity in this world, and I love it. I love it. What more can I say? I need to finally bring myself to accomplish this, because I know it's gonna be a good 5 stars for me once I finally make that time commitment to, you know, invest into this book. It has, like I said, been on many a TBRs, but like the floppiness of this paperback, just perfect for reading. I just know I just need to get to it. I just need to get to it and stop being afraid. That's pretty much it. A book that got a little bit of mixed reviews from my understanding, but one that I think that I am going to like, and that is The Last Graduate by Naomi Novak. The very first book, what is it called? A Deadly Education, was one of my favorite books of last year. Like, I really enjoyed that book. I think that the world is very different. Like, this idea of a school, no teachers, you learn on your own, you have to like fight to survive, like every man for himself basically. Like, the school is basically trying to kill you, not everybody survives, which just like this such a different type of, you know, idea for me when I was reading it. The school is shown here. It's really interesting how like the different levels, like each year it turns and goes down and down and down. As you become like a senior, you're on the lowest tier with like the most monsters and things that are trying to get you. Oh, let me drop my book. But yeah, That being said, I know that the first book ended up on a cliffhanger. I really enjoyed that book, like I said. It just had me flying through it, like the action, all of the like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? So I definitely want to give this one a try. Even though I've heard not so great things, I still think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Yep. Another book that I have had for so long, and I don't know why I just haven't picked it up. It's literally been like in my bedroom staring at me saying, hey, you need to read me. I know you're gonna love me. Give me 5 stars. Like, that's pretty much what this book has been like calling out to me. And that's The Wicker King by Kay Akram. This book I know deals with mental health and 2 friends. One of them, I'm not sure if he's like, doesn't really understand reality or something like that. As you can see, like going further and further into the book and going into like more madness, the pages get darker and darker and darker, and I'm just like, that's really cool. I think this will be a really fun, more kind of like interactive read. I feel like that just because of the topics that it is about, I'm sure will have quite an impact and maybe even have me shedding a few tears. I don't know, I could be wrong. I could be just like an emotionless robot right while reading it, but I feel like this one is just gonna be so good, and I've seen so many people really enjoy it and love it, and I want to be one of those people as well. One of my favorite books of 2020 was by this author, TJ Klune, and Under the Whispering Door is one that I knew I had to pick up as soon as it was released. This is a book that I don't think is gonna have the same vibes as, what is it called? The House in the Cerulean Sea. That book was just everything to me. Like the audiobook of that, the characters in that book was just so amazing. This one definitely has a little bit darker of a tone to it. It's about a man who ends up, I believe, passing away, and he ends up in this tea house, and I think you can kind of like relive your life or like relive, I don't know. Basically, it's kind of like this second chance or something of that nature after you pass away or right before you go into like the other side. I feel like because of that, it's definitely going to have me shedding tears. TJ Klune, especially with his other series, with like Wolf Song and all of that, the independently published werewolf books, I was like a bawling baby in the ones that I read about that, and I feel like I probably will be with this as well, just because of the topic. TJ Klune, just like every time I read a book by him, I'm pretty sure I've given it 5 stars, 4 or 5 stars if not. I think that I definitely want to read this one this year. No, I will read this one this year, and I most likely will give it 5 stars. I believe I will. One of the newest books that I recently got for Christmas from Lourdes from Chapters We Love, thank you so much Lourdes for sending me this book, is Colleen Hoover's November 9. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with Colleen Hoover. I think that I am going to enjoy this book. I don't know what it is. I did not like, I think, what was it, Hopeless by her, but I think I'm gonna like this one. I really enjoyed It Ends With Us. There was a few things that weren't my favorite, but for some reason, I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna give this book 5 stars. Something's telling me it is. I know nothing about this. I don't know if I want to know anything about it. It's another one of those books that went like viral on TikTok, and like Colleen Hoover is like having her moment. I think this one is going to be a good one to pick up, and I think I'm going to give it 5 stars. Like, high hopes for that because it's on my 5-star book prediction list. The last book that I think I'm going to give 5 stars to is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. So Helen Huang has written 2 of my absolute favorite books. They are books that just like, one hit home for me in such a way that it's just kind of like heartbreaking in the memories that I have of my own family and past. And I heard this one is actually a lot more, less romance heavy and more like real life struggles, dealing with heartbreaking topics. Like, it's not as rom-com as the other 2. So that being said, I feel like I need to be in a very good mental place to pick this up because I don't want to get into like a book slump or have a book affect me in that way. So I feel like I need to kind of like pick and choose the best timing for these books. But Helen Huang has not steered me wrong in any of the books that I've read from her, and I definitely want to read this one. I do think it's going to be a 5-star read for me, even though I know it's not everyone's absolute favorite. But this is dealing with a violinist named Anna and the cousin Quan. So Quan was like the bad boy of the family riding a motorcycle, and I just remember seeing him and I was like, I bet he's gonna be the one in the next book. So that is true. This is his book. We're finally gonna get it, and I'm very, very excited. That's all I know about it. All I wanna know, it's probably gonna bring me tears. What else is new? Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching my 5-star book prediction. I have quite a few that I need to read. I feel like reading books that are already on my bookshelves is such a great idea. I really needed to go on a book buying ban and like stop buying books because I literally don't have enough room on my bookshelves. So that's what needs to happen. That being said, if you have read any of these or have any thoughts or opinions about them, I would love to chat about it, talk about it in the comments down below. And I hope you have a great day and happy reading. Bye.